I'm so full. Are you on? Yeah. Okay, good. No, I meant your microphone. You're good. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You're good.
Good.
Unified School District Regular Board of Education meeting for November 12th, 2015. This time, if I could ask Coach Stolpe to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The announcements of actions taken in closed session. Closed session item E1, Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with labor negotiators, WTA, CSEA, and Management Superintendent Luna. Information was received and direction was given. And at 5:30 today, we had a swearing in, and our recording device wasn't working. So I wanted to let the public know that we did swear in our new board member, Kobe Pizzotti. But due to the fact that we had technical difficulties and not a crowd, we're going to redo it for you. So.
We're going to do this again?
This evening, we will be swearing in our new appointed trustee, Kobe Pizzotti. Please raise your right hand. I, Kobe Pizzotti,
I, Kobe Pizzotti,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
And we did have a slight celebration, so there's drinks and cookies out there, and help yourself. I do need a motion to approve the agenda, and I understand there might be some modifications.
So moved.
Modifications.
Yeah, I have a minor modification.
Okay, sorry.
Which item, please?
Excuse me.
He's eating a cookie.
On the minutes for the 11:22 session, it said President Cruz's vote for school board trustee.
I'm sorry, was that October 22nd?
Yeah, I'm sorry, 10:22,
Okay.
my bad. It was, your vote was Sasha Horowitz, Kobe Pizzotti, and then, was it Eleanor, I believe?
Eleanor Sanchez.
Eleanor Sanchez. The meeting minutes actually have Sasha Horowitz, Eleanor Sanchez, then Kobe Pizzotti. That's just minor correction.
Got those corrections? Any more modifications? I have a motion to approve the agenda with the modification.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are down to communications and celebrations, and we'd like to recognize and celebrate the provisional appointment of Mr. Pizzotti to the Board of Education. And I think we have some comments from the board. Anybody, somebody? Just like to welcome you. We welcome a dad to the board. And we look forward to working with you. Your knowledge and experience is going to bring another wealth of knowledge to the rest of us. And each one of us kind of brings something different to the board, and you bring something different also. And we're glad that you're here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'd just like to echo those. We're having technical difficulties up here with our computers, so sorry about that distraction. But welcome to the board, Toby. We're happy to have you.
Toby?
Kobe.
See?
Speech and
Toby
technical.
Gonzalez.
No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke from earlier.
Yes, we're happy to have you and looking forward to getting out at some of our district events.
Absolutely, I'm eager.
And seeing you out there, and welcome. I think you'll find this is a very special place, and it's good to have you here.
I'm really excited also because I know that you're a lobbyist for the psych techs, and that's a wonderful field. And since we're doing a lot of immersion in our schools, and also with our community college with Dean Pimentel, I think
Right.
that opens up a wonderful field where our students can also, get into a field where they would have a wonderful livelihood and
Absolutely.
contribute a lot to the community. So, thank you.
Absolutely.
Welcome. Is
Thank
there any comments you would like to make?
Well, thank you all for being so gracious. You've been very wonderful and welcoming, and I really do appreciate it, and I totally agree. There's an outstanding opportunity to do some sort of immersion or apprenticeship or shadowing of psych techs that I think would allow many of the students that are interested in going into the nursing field a great opportunity to start to discover what that's like. So thank you all so much. You've been wonderful.
Thank you. We have an acknowledge and celebrate the receipt of a matching funds grant in the sum of $15,000 from NCR.
Thank you. This, just a quick celebration. We apply every couple of years to our JPA, NorCal Relief, to get a matching grant for safety improvements. We got one a few years ago that helped put in the camera system at Yolo High. We applied again this year and got a $15,000 matching grant that we put $15,000 into for a total of $30,000. This grant is going to go towards the camera system at Riverbank, and it will also support two crossing beacons along the Clarksburg Line Trail. We believe that one of them will be behind River City on Linden. There'll be another one on Lake Washington. And they were also talking about a third possibility of one over by Southport and Linden, that crossing there. So this is just to celebrate the fact that we got an additional grant and are pairing that with a program that the city has and cobbling those funds together to be able to go from, I think they had 6 crossing beacons, and they're now able to go in between 8 and 9 crossing beacons that'll be installed, I believe, within the next 30 days.
Thank you. We're to student and association reports. We have our student board member.
Good evening, members of the board and audience. Tonight I have a report on a few of our schools throughout the district. Elkhorn and PTSA had their fall festival and were able to raise $2,000. On Saturday, teachers will be trained at Elkhorn on GLAD strategies, and on November 19th, Elkhorn will be having their K-3 parent-student literacy night. The River City High School Wind Ensemble was one of only 3 bands in the entire state of California selected to perform at the CMEA State Band and Orchestra Festival. Midterm grades have shown there is an 11.5% increase in students over 2.5 compared to this time last year. And a huge congratulations goes out to River City's very own Judy Tan, who was selected as C-STEM Teacher of the Year for the secondary level. I also have an update on the RC fall sports. The River City boys soccer team finished 3rd in the Tri-County Conference. They qualified for the CIF SJS section as the number 15 seed. The boys played the number 2 seed Jesuit in the first round, and they lost the match 3-0. The girls tennis team won their 2nd straight TCC League title. Overall, they were 20-4 and 12-0 in league competition. They have advanced to the San Joaquin section finals. And in the quarterfinals, they defeated El Capitan 9-0 and Manteca 9-0 in semifinals. They play Central Catholic today for the section title. Cross country had 3 varsity girls place in top 10 and 1 freshman girl placed in the top 10 of the Forest Hill Wildfire Invitational. They ended the season seeing a vast improvement in all the runners. Girls volleyball ended the season on the positive. They finished the season with wins against River Valley and Rio Linda. Ashley Mondia was voted All-League setter, while Taylor Jackie was voted All-League MVP. The boys' water polo team finished 3rd in Metro Conference. They qualified for the CIF SJS playoffs as the number 12 seed in Division I. They lost their first round match to Gregory. The girls' water polo team finished 2nd in the Metro Conference. They qualified for the CIF SJS playoffs as the number 11 seed in Division I. They lost their first round match to Wood Creek. And the River City football team finished the season on a high note with a 42-35 win over Rio Linda. River City is very excited to inform you of the incredible accomplishments of our River City student athletes. Here are the statistics for our fall student athletes. There are currently 305 student athletes participating in fall athletics. These young men and women have not only represented themselves well in the competition, but they have been even more impressive in the classroom. A huge congratulations to our players, parents, coaches, and teachers. The River City Athletic Department would also like to thank all of the K-8 teachers and coaches for providing such a strong foundation for our scholar athletes. And on behalf of Southport Elementary, good evening from Southport Elementary. Each fall, Southport student wrote poetry for our World Peace Rose Garden Poetry Contest. A committee chose 12 winners ranging from kindergarten through 8th grade. We just had our school-wide celebration and had many parents, grandparents, and friends attend this exciting event. The 12 winning poems were read by their authors on the outdoor stage to the entire student body and guests. Also reading poems were the 2 winners of the Martin Luther King Jr. Poetry Contest that was held last spring in Atlanta, Georgia. In the MLK contest, there were over 2,000 poetry entries from 6 countries. There were only 24 winners chosen, and Southport Elementary had 2 of those winners. Southport extends an open invitation to our Board of Education and Cabinet to come and visit our campus and experience our beautiful World Peace Rose Garden decorated with monuments of winning poetry. That's all I have for now, but thank you.
Thank you. WTA report, Don?
Good evening. I'd like to welcome our newest school board member, Mr. Pizzati. Okay. It's nice to see a full complement of 5 again. I'd like to thank the district for the recent changes at Westmore Oaks and Westfield. I've gotten lots of feedbacks from teachers, and they're looking forward to the increased stability and I think and just the new atmosphere on both of those campuses. And so that's a very positive development, and thank you again for that. Recently, we had a safety issue come up at the high school with a threat against the school, and the district handled it according to procedure and well, and the threat was contained. I'm hoping, though, as it might start a conversation and with the safety committee and others on developing perhaps a more comprehensive and transparent policy, especially as it relates to communication between the school officials and teachers, students, and families. And so it's something I think is worthy of a conversation this year, and I would hope that gets pursued. Speaking of safety at the high school, I know one of the ongoing concerns has been the access to on and off campuses, especially the gates that need to remain open. And I believe some Measure V money was going to be set aside for crash bars and other safety equipment there. And I'm wondering if sometime in the near future we might have a Measure V update, because I know safety is coming up, but also we have that blank spot between the math building and the cafeteria where a building is going to go. And I'm just wondering the timeline on when of those things are going to begin to happen. One thing I'm happy about at the negotiating table this year is a discussion on evaluation. This is something near and dear to my heart. And I just want to say I'm excited to be talking and thinking about moving towards a best practices evaluation system. And I'm looking forward to more conversations on that over this year. While we're on that subject, I also would like to start the conversation about how the district and the association might support teachers who are wanting to move towards national board certification. And I think this would be a worthy gesture. It's quite an achievement for teachers to be national board certified, and I think it'd be worthwhile for the district to encourage teachers to pursue this, and I think it would be worthwhile not just for the teachers but also for instruction and other teachers in the district. So something to think about. Over the last couple of weeks, there's been quite a bit of change to the VAPA schedule, and it's been fairly traumatic for those involved. I know we're in the middle of a trial period now. I'm hoping that things work out, and I'm hoping that you will revisit the VAPA plan that you've been working on over the last couple of years. I know there's some more things coming up. I have to say, I think the biggest thing I'm hearing is that people are excited to see it in the schools and want it to be done well. And then thankfully, I saw, it's becoming that time of year again. I saw the first notice for an LCAP meeting coming up, and now here we go again. And I know it's like pulling teeth getting people to participate when you have a kind of unwieldy acronym like that. It's not real exciting, even if you bribe them with food and other things. But we want input on that, and I'm glad that process is starting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. CSEA report. Deborah's not here. Is anyone here on her behalf? I don't see anyone. Public comments. I don't have any public comments at this time. We're going to go to board and superintendent comments. And our last board meeting was October 22nd, and I think WTA and CSEA, and the board, we all waived our comments at that time because we had a heavy agenda. And so tonight, I'm sure the board is going to get you updated on some things we missed. But I do, on behalf of the district and the board, want to give our condolences to Holly Owens. We lost her, and it was a big impact in our district. And for those of you that don't know, Sarah and I attended a celebration before she passed, and one of her requests was to see her oldest and last daughter graduate. And Sarah and I got to be a part of that celebration, and we awarded her a future graduation certificate, and she wore her cap and gown And it was very emotional, but it was great to be a part of that. And a lot of you just have no idea the amount of time we spend as a board and being able to celebrate and things like that with the family. The outcome of people that showed up was just amazing. And I've mentioned this to some, but I'm going to mention it in public because people have reached out to me. When you call Westmore Oaks, that is Holly's voice you hear on the voicemail. And a lot of the public would like to retain that just so they can get through things. And just remember, she's still here. So I want to thank the public and give my condolences to their family. And on that, we can go ahead with any board comments. Board Member Villegas.
And we also lost William Lowell. And for those of you that may not know that, it was a pretty significant loss to the city and the county and just West Sacramento in general. He was a wonderful person. Hard times right now. I feel like we've lost some great people recently. But I just wanted to say I had a wonderful tour, and the president and vice president are here today, of the Farm to Fork at River City High School. And I do have a compost bin for you, and I need to bring it by. It's just a thing from Waste Management. And it was a great tour, and I just really want to thank you. Man, these kids are impressive, and they knew their stuff, and I wanted to bring them home to my house to help me with my garden, but we'll do that later. And then I'd just like to remind folks that our community giveaway day, I know a lot of people here are volunteering for that, but the West Sacramento Community Giveaway Day is not this Saturday, but next Saturday, November 21st at Westfield. And we have 450 families already signed up and about 150 volunteers. Much of those kids are from our local high school here. So thanks, Dan, for getting those kids involved. And I know some board members and Linda and her family are going to be there. So just wanted to say thank you in advance for that. And that's it.
Thank you. Board Member Kirby Gonzalez.
I too got to visit the River City Garden and see the Farm to Fork in action. And it was one of those visits where you just walk away and you think, we're going to be okay. We have great future leaders on the way. You know, your heart is so warm seeing how articulate, how thoughtful the students were, and all focused really on making the world a better place and on our carbon footprint. And it was just really, thank you for that visit. It was great. So with that piece, I should also say that I was able to look at a few of the plants and say, you know, my plants aren't growing this well. And the students said, well, tell me exactly what they look like. Let's talk this through. And so I went home, and sure enough, my basil's doing better. I've been listening, and our soil's getting better. So better than when I've gone to some of our local hardware stores and talked to folks there who have no idea how to help me. So I appreciate that. Also, I got to cheer on with my girls at the Veterans Parade, the Sacramento Veterans Parade, the River City Band, as well as the Air Force Junior ROTC, and they make us look so good. I mean, their uniforms were fabulous, and they just look so good out there. And so it was definitely an honor and a big smile on my face to get to cheer for them and see them in the parade. And I think those are my pieces. I do see our Elkhorn principal, and I know she's been working on, we've talked through junior achievement in the past and financial literacy with our students. So I'll just share with you that I have, Golden One has made an offer to come out to some of the schools, and they do a little workshop on financial literacy. So we've talked about it, and so Mr. Spalding is going to be touching base with them too, but just something to think about, and maybe a partnership with them that's free might work out too. So thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Pizzotti, do you have anything? I know.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say again, thank you all for the welcoming. You've done a phenomenal job with all the times that you guys have spent, and I've always admired everything that the board has done. But now that I'm here, I would certainly like to invite everybody to get to know me, and I'm going to make my effort to get to know all the principals in the district, all the staff that want to have a conversation with me. I certainly would like to do that. And I want to make sure I get a chance to go out to all the school sites and watch and see how things are done and learn, and just learn about everybody who works so hard at making this district so wonderful. So that's what I'd like to say.
Thank you. Board Member Alcott?
Okay, I have 3 quick items. One is I attended the wonderful Harvest Festival over at Elkhorn. Principal Lisa Smith, it was fabulous. The teachers, the parents, the kids, and what made it really nice were the solar panel structure up there. We weren't melting, out there this year. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much. I wanted to, second item is I just wanted to make a recommendation to the Curriculum Council. I've brought up ethnic studies as a requirement for graduation, and I think this is really important. I've seen that another school district has, again, made this necessary for graduation. I believe there's, I think Tulare, some schools in Tulare County are doing that as well. We have Woodland and of course, Sacramento. And I would like to make this maybe a recommendation that you talk about this, because cultural awareness and sensitivity are really important. Young people should be aware of the contributions that other ethnic groups make, and I feel that this is really important. It's part of growing up, learning to appreciate, the contributions that other cultures have made. So that's something I hope you'll take up. And then third was I attended a wonderful, it was called, here we go, Read to Succeed, and it was put on by the Yolo County Department of Education. It was a seminar, on early childhood education. And Superintendent of Yolo Schools, Jesse Ortiz, brought individuals in who made wonderful presentations on bridging the achievement gap, and so much of it, we understand, is related to income. So one of the seminars was on universal preschool, and I'm really hoping that we can have that here in West Sacramento, because true universal preschool means that every child, regardless of income level, gets to attend. And this is very important. In Yolo County, only 50% of families are actually able to afford preschool. So this is something that I know is paramount in the minds of a lot of the Yolo County Board of Educators and the different school districts. And if we could have that, we could see a tremendous change in the success that our children have. And just one more quick thing. I know we've had a great success with the STEM conference, and Arturo Alemán and some of the individuals associated with this conference called me, and they're anxious to have us participate again. And he mentioned something about, I guess, some of the teachers he spoke with were talking about matriculation, and he would love to have a conversation next week with you. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. And I think you guys are being shy, because I know you guys have been to a lot more events, because it's been a while. So I'll let you know where I've been. Today, I have the pleasure of going to Westmore Oaks and Westfield and meeting Dr. Carla Galbraith, or Dr. G, is what she wants to be called, and Roxanne Villasenor, and I welcomed her on behalf of the board. And I met these 2 individuals, and all I have to say is, wow. They are going to bring, and I understand their districts were kind of sad that we stole them, but nothing but positive feedback, as Dawn was stating. And so welcoming. I see the students coming, talking to them. Miss Villasenor, she came from high school kids, and she says it's so different to see the little ones. They just want to hug. So I encourage the board, if you guys get a chance, go out and meet them, and I welcome them on our behalf, but it was well received, and it was great. And that was this afternoon. This morning, I was out at River City to see one of our own students, Austin Roberts, sign his letter of intent to Sac State.
Oh, nice.
And that was very nice to see. And I understand it happens more often than not, and I would encourage staff at River City as well as administration to let us know, because that's a very important event to see. It was well attended by students, previous coaches, and it was just a good thing to see. I mean, I brought a tear to my eye. He wasn't my son, but it was just, wow, how exciting for him. Let's see. I spent Tuesday evening at the culinary school at their harvest festival, and what was more interesting to me there is that, of course, the students sold spaghetti plates for $3, but I actually sat down at a table with an older couple, and they didn't have kids in the district, but they were from around the corner, and they just saw the sign, and they wanted to know what was going on. And they came in, they brought dinner, I sat with them, we had a wonderful conversation, and that's part of what we had the culinary school put there, is to bring in the community as well as the students. So that was an exciting time for me also. And they had good food. The students were there. The students from the Farm to Fork were there, introduced themselves, and they were very exciting. About a month ago, maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, because time just flies, I attended the teacher workshops on the Saturday, where I got to hear our own superintendent sing the anthem. And if you haven't heard her sing, wow, we didn't get just a new superintendent, but we got, I'm sure she's for hire, I don't know, but she is a very good singer, so that was good. And I attended some of the classes, and to sit there with the teachers, and the class I enjoyed the most was the Chrome class. Those teachers were having so much fun building things and doing things that probably were new to them, but it was just exciting to sit there and do that. Sarah and I, you didn't mention this, we did attend the curriculum council, and we talked about the new Farm to Fork curriculum, which we'll talk about a little bit later. I attended the Monster Mash 5K at River City on October 30th, and it was a fundraiser for the engineering academy out there, and I'm not going to brag, my son, I didn't run, I held the finish line, but it was my son's first 5K, and I'll brag, he came in first, which was surprising, but it was good, and I thank the staff for putting that together, and I hope we continue to do that, because it was really fun. I also was invited as a panelist in Sacramento to talk to young leaders in Sacramento that are interested in politics, and I sat there with Councilman, was it Vieira? Forget his name. Guerra.
Eric Guerra.
Eric
Guerra. And some people from the assembly, and to talk to these young folks that they're college students, they work at the assembly, and they were just wowed. One of them said, I never thought about running for school board, so it was a good experience. I also went out to, I believe it was Bridgeway, because all these schools ran together that day, but the California Conservation Corps was putting in their sustainable butterfly garden, and I was out there watching them move heavy logs, and just amazing things are going on in all these campuses. So that's where I've been, and I know these folks have been other places too. So, and last but not least, I'll give the River City Athletic Boosters a plug. They'll be hosting their annual, we've had one once before, vendor and craft fair on Saturday, December 5th. From 10 to 2, and they're looking for vendors, so come on out. If you're not a vendor, come out and do some holiday shopping. So thank you all for listening to me. Superintendent Luna.
Good evening, President Cruz, Board of Trustees, staff, and guests. This evening, I just wanted to give a brief update of all the great work that's been happening in the district. First, I'd like to start with congratulations again to Trustee Kobe Pizzotti. I'm looking forward to working with you and accomplishing a lot on behalf of our kids, so welcome aboard. Two areas I just wanted to cover, because that's two areas have been a lot of the focus of my work in these past couple of weeks. And mostly, we'll start with all students are college and career ready. It's been a lot of work that's happening on behalf of our students at River City High School and Yolo High School. The first is, of course, visiting the Bright Culinary Campus is always a blessing. And Tuesday night's Harvest Festival was really fun, and got to see some staff and their special skills of trying to raise some funds for the program, and the kids cooking. I saw a cooking demonstration of omelets, and the kids are just phenomenal. And so I wanted to thank the Bright staff for that, for putting it together, so it gives another chance for us to go out and see that awesome program. The second piece of work, which is almost like a time crunch, is that the California Department of Education has come out with the new Career Technical Education Incentive Grant for all school districts in California. And that incentive grant is about $900 million for school districts to apply for a 3-year implementation of extending and creating career pathways for students. And of course, the time frame is very, very short. It's the part 1 is due actually November 30th. And so we've been going to workshops, working at the county office, hearing from other entities how to strategically and thoughtfully put together what we have been doing in our school districts to then look at what will best serve our kids through the use of additional funds through this particular CTE grant. The most important thing I think we need to really work on this particular grant is that the state is looking for sustainability. So in other words, they're giving us a jump start to really implement and dream about meaningful pathways for our kids. And what that 3-year grant is going to entail is that school districts are able to show sustainability. So each year, the first year is the best year because it's a dollar-for-dollar match. After that, it starts to wean itself away, and part of the grant application is actually for the school district to show evidence that after 3 years of the grant funding, so we're talking about a 6-year span here, that the district will be able to continue those programs without that grant funding. So there's some pretty heavy responsibility to go with it, but I think it's always a good time to take advantage of new funds to help us attain our dreams of what we would love to see for our kids. So we'll be working on that, and there'll be a lot more information being brought to the board as we start putting together all of the district information for that. The next one is last week, we had a little bit of a ceremony over at River City High School in terms of accepting the $150,000 award from the Future Ready Community Wins Award. And that particular award comes from the United States Conference of Mayors and the Wells Fargo Bank, specifically for our students at River City High School to participate in internships and for teachers to also participate in externships so that we can better align what we're teaching in our career pathways in our schools, better align them to better prepare our students to enter into the workforce upon graduation. Another great opportunity, I'm really excited and very honored for this opportunity. On Monday, I will be representing West Sacramento for a Tech Hire Community Action Summit, and that is over at the White House. I'm pretty excited about that.
Nice.
There's 4 of us actually going in the Sacramento and West Sacramento region, and I've been honored to represent us in the educational lens, and then we have 2 industry leaders that will also be participating, as well as a Sacramento City Council member, so that all of that can be looked at, and it's all focused on River City High School kids to increase our capacity and increase our possibility of more resources through the Department of Labor and federal funds. And so we're really excited about this possibility. I will be giving a report back to the board at our next board meeting about the summit itself. And I think it's a pretty exciting possibility to get our name out over to the East Coast. In the area of community, one of the trustees had mentioned about, actually it was Don Stauffer, our teacher at River City High School, that mentioned that we will be entering into more parent meetings for our LCAP. So I'm excited to be a part of that next Thursday. Our Parent Advisory Committee will be meeting for the first time, and those are representatives from each of our schools, along with the administration and along with other stakeholders, to come together to talk about the goals of the district, allowing people to have free input into our work moving forward. I also attended last weekend Holly Owens Memorial Service, and I wish I had a chance to meet this incredible person, because the service was extremely touching, and my prayers and my thoughts are with her daughter as she finishes her year at River City High School, and we offer that support to the family, the continued support. I've been busy today. It started at 7 o'clock this morning, representing Washington Unified School District at the Northern California AXA Region 3 Board. And that is for all school administrators here in California. And in the northern part, the executive board met and wanted to know a little bit more about Washington Unified. So I was so pleased to be able to represent us and for them to start hearing the wonderful things that are happening, the direction that we're moving forward, and how we're all working together. This afternoon, I was on at noon over at the Club Pheasant with the West Sacramento Chamber of Commerce, representing our district in a forum for kids in education in West Sacramento. And mostly the audience, there were 3 people in that entire audience of 40 to 50 people that had children in our district. So this was a real opportunity to get to the community, who our school district is, who are our children, and really what are we doing and what do we have in place. It was amazing. It was really positive and wonderful. So our work in the community is coming together. Our collaboration and partnerships are getting stronger, and I'm just very grateful to be a part of all of that. In closing, this is the month of November. I love this time of year. I love it because it causes us to pause and to be still and silent for even a moment, to take some time to reflect and to be thankful. And I just want to give a shout out when I think about our schools, our teachers, our staff, our administration. Every day they are here in the grind, and they are here giving their very all and their very best, and I'm grateful for that. Secondly, for our students, we have our students here tonight, and they're here in the evenings working at fall festivals. They're here early in the morning for some 0 periods. They're here after school, and then they go home and work harder to do their homework or prepare for the next day. And they show up every day for their future, trusting us to prepare them well. I'm grateful for our kids. I want to thank our parents because they have confidence and trust in us. When they leave their children in our hands, they're saying to us, we trust you. You're going to serve our kids well. And I'm grateful for our parents. And lastly, I'm grateful for our governing board because your focus on our kids' best interests and well-being, and also for your support and confidence in our work in our district. It's a great time of year, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. We're to the information and discussion items. Item N1, information update, renaming of Bright Elementary School campus. Renee Collins and Bill Spalding.
Good evening, President Cruz and members of the board. Good evening, Superintendent Luna. As promised, we are bringing back some information. When we last talked about this, it was August 27th, that we were talking about naming the Bright campus. It's no longer Bright Elementary School, as you can tell. And Renee has been working with a community group as per our board policy on what to do and how to move forward, and she has some recommendations. It's not an action item, it's just an information item, but we'd be looking probably to bring an action item to you next time. And I'm going to turn it over to Renee for kind of an explanation of what she's been up to with this community group.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to talk to you tonight. All of you should have probably a 2-page document. You have 2 pages. I've got my back-to-back. But about the process that we've taken in trying to come up with a recommendation for the renaming of Bright. So board policy states that we, that when naming a school or building, that we could name it after a living or deceased individual who has made an outstanding contribution, locally, nationally, or internationally, or we could name it after a geographic area in which the school or building is located. it really, when it came to the Community Advisory Committee and really the input from the public and the students, there was no question that Bright would remain part of the name of the school. It never, there was never a suggestion that was anything other than Bright. And you can see from the list of individuals, the 9 individuals on the committee that served as advisors, that there were a lot of people from the neighborhood. Our students had gone to school there as kindergartners or first graders, so they had that historical perspective of going there as an elementary school student and then now coming back as a high school student. So everybody felt very, very strongly about retaining the name of Bright. Some of the process that we went through in coming up with the recommendation that I'm bringing to you tonight for your consideration is I put together a SurveyMonkey survey that we distributed to both River City High School and YOLO Education High School students with a couple jumpstart names to get it started. And then I asked students to be able to, with their second period classes, come to a consensus of the name that they liked the best, and if they didn't like the names that were there, to recommend something else that they preferred. And so we got a lot of feedback. We had 17 classes participate between the 2 schools, and their recommendation was Bright College and Career Training. And that's the name that we brought back to the advisory committee when we met for our first 2 meetings to discuss the results from the survey and to really make sure that we were considering the renaming from all angles and getting input from all types of community, including members from the school district as well as the general community. So we met on 2 different occasions, and every word in the recommended name has a meaning to the committee. So Bright was the family that donated the land originally for the purposes of education, and everyone, as I said, felt very, very strongly in retaining that name. That was never a question to remove it. Career, that reflects on the current mission and vision of the site, that it would provide career training. And college as well, because we're preparing our students equally to pursue careers as pursue college. So students will step off their path into their career at different points. Some students are going to earn certification at the high school level, and they may go into their career directly following high school. Some are going to get skills at the high school level and take it into a 2-year college program and earn certification and step out at that point into a career. And some students are going to continue to go on to higher education. And so we're giving them at Bright the opportunity to pursue both career and college. Students have that option. Students make that choice. We're just providing the avenue for which they get that education. And training is just looking at certifications, looking at college credit articulations with Sac City College, with Woodland College, just looking at options that really make our students stand out from others that they might compete with in the job market. So really making sure that they're well prepared when they're heading into the job force or into college. So the name that the committee is recommending that you consider, please, is Bright Career and College Training. And so, as Bill said, we're not asking for an approval this evening, but if we could, if you would, please consider that name and discuss it. We'll come back in December with a request to approve the recommended name. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any comments, questions, suggestions?
I like that name.
Thank you.
I'm really happy that you got a lot of input. I think that's really important. Makes the community feel more a part of it
Yeah.
and invested.
Absolutely, and it helped us to get to know our neighbors, and, they were the ones that brought it out to additional neighbors and staff, so it was a nice process to go through.
And so my hope is that we then start referring to it as, continue using Bright, because the first thing I looked at was the acronym. Are we going to start referring to it as the BCCT campus? I want to make sure it's important.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a member of that community, and as you might know or not know, right down the street is the Bright Garden Apartments.
Right.
you know, so that bright name is important to that community. So
Absolutely.
when we start referring to it, I don't want to go
Shorten it up.
left.
Yeah.
I want it still to be referred to bright. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a proud thing. And then how much is it going to cost for the sign to put all that wording on there?
Well, we have a marquee that's waiting for a name.
Oh, okay, good,
And
good.
so that's in process, so. Okay, I thought you were
Well, Scott said
telling me to
no.
be quiet. Anyhow, so I think, once we have a name that we've chosen, then we
I
can
like
move
the
ahead
name,
with
I
that.
just want to make sure we continue as a district to refer to it
Yeah.
as bright and don't shortcut it into some acronym.
I can appreciate that.
And I do thank the public for their input. Anything more?
I would just say, as we discussed, that a lot of people do Google searches, and so I think this is a great name too for that, because then if they're typing in careers or college, they're both going to pop up, and so I think that's a smart decision from that angle as well. And it just was really beautiful, I thought, the way that you articulated that students step off into their career at different places, and I wrote that down. The way you said it, I thought was really respectful of what their journey might be, and showing our obligation to prepare them whatever that place may be. So, thank you. Great.
Anything? No? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have information item N2, update on the biliteracy initiatives from English Learner Office and Elkhorn Village School. Krista and Bob. Bill.
I'm back
We're
again.
having problems with names up here, or
Keep
me.
showing up.
Kobe, Toby, we'll get it.
Kirby.
Now I'm thrown off. I want to introduce you to Krista Koch, who's our new coordinator of English learners, and Yolanda Saka, who is a program specialist provided through QIA funds at Elkhorn, working on initiatives to support improved student achievement. Both have been working on a couple of big projects and initiatives that would really advance biliteracy in our district and advance biliteracy for our students, and I wanted them to be able to share what they've been working on, and I get you as excited as I am about what's coming.
Good evening. I'm very enthusiastic to be here tonight to present some exciting opportunities for our students of Washington Unified School District. The education of our students is of critical importance so that they thrive and succeed in 21st century global society and economy. The image that you're looking at here represents the 21st century student outcomes, being the rainbow arches, but then the pools in front are the support systems that we as a school district can provide for our students in order to meet those outcomes. As this slide shows, or as a nation, we are far behind when it comes to creating citizens comfortable in conversing in a second language. Being able to do this would, of course, in part, help them thrive and succeed in our global society and economy. So what we bring to you tonight, in part, is what's called the Seal of Biliteracy. The Seal of Biliteracy is an award given in recognition of students who have studied and attained proficiency in 2 or more languages by high school graduation. The Seal of Biliteracy takes the form of a golden seal that appears on the transcript or diploma of the graduating senior and is a statement of accomplishment for future employers and for college admissions. The seal criteria has already been established by the state of California. That was done in the year 2011. It would be open to both students who are learning English as an additional language, but also to our students whose primary language is already English. What we're looking for from the board in order for this to actually happen this school year is some board language around this. So I'm just putting that out there for you. And then real quickly, again, we've been hearing a lot about 21st century skills, and I'm very passionate about definitely the benefits of the Seal of Biliteracy, mainly to encourage our students to develop and maintain biliteracy and multilingual skills, to provide employers with a method of identifying candidates with language and biliteracy skills, and also to encourage the development of dual language immersion programs. And with that, I'd like to introduce Yolanda Saka, who will talk about more this possible dual immersion program.
So at Elkhorn, I've been doing my research, and I'd like to present to you some information we have. Our next slide. Let's see if I can work this. The slide you have in front of you will quickly give you some information about dual immersion and transitional bilingual. We have a history of having a transitional bilingual program at Elkhorn Village, and we're looking to move towards a dual immersion program that would support the 21st century skills and the seal of biliteracy. So the major differences here are that in a dual immersion program, any student from any background doesn't have a second language can also attend a dual immersion program. In a transitional bilingual program, only students who are native to the language can be part of the program. In the case at Elkhorn, we've had primarily just Spanish because that's the program we have. So the students have to speak that language when coming in. Also, a dual immersion program is an additive bilingual program where students from both groups, their native languages are maintained. Versus a transitional bilingual program, it's a subtractive bilingual program where the ultimate goal is to transition students to English. And we are not maintaining both languages. So some outcomes that we are desiring today is to implement a dual immersion program. We want to enhance the network of dual immersion educators and parents. We want to produce students with high academic levels of bilingualism. And we want to promote the integration of 21st century skills. I have a graphic here for you. So there are two models that are highly researched in the bilingual education world. And the 90-10 model is highly favored when you're looking at the research. So this model starts kinder or first, or pre-K, and 10% of the instruction would be in English, 90% of it would be in Spanish. As you move on to grades 2 and 3, 30% of the instruction would be in English, 70% in Spanish. By the time students are in 4th through 6th grade, 50% of the language is in both languages. And it continues on to middle school and high school once we get there. We're looking to implement a third of the students to be heritage Spanish speakers, which means it's a generational language that they've been exposed to. A third of the students would be native Spanish speakers. They actually speak the language and practice at home. And a third of the students would be from heterogeneous groups, no exposure to Spanish language. So right now, it would be the English-only students who don't have any exposure to Spanish. The following model is a 50-50 model. So all through the grades is a 50% exposure to both languages, starting at kinder. The planning process, we would ask to create a planning committee, visit successful programs, which we've already started. Last year we visited Beamer, which earned some awards at CAVE last year, and asked questions about their program and why it was so successful. We've done our research. We've also attended CAVE conferences, the ATDLE, which is a two-way dual immersion conference as well. Teachers and administrators attended that last summer. We have continued with our professional development, keeping up with the research as far as teachers and administrators at the site. And we want to implement an action plan to move towards dual immersion. So the program rationale here is that all students would benefit from implementing a dual immersion program because there's no risk to either language. Students' cultures are being valued. We're getting respect for multiculturalism. The cognitive benefits are also great because students are achieving at high academic levels in multiple languages. So we want to implement. A big part of the implementation is that the parent and community is involved. We want to reach out to the community. We want to ask them what they're looking for, how we can get them involved. We want curriculum that's available in both languages across the grade levels at a high rigor so that we hold the students accountable and ready for those 21st century skills. We ask the parents that they commit at least 5 years to a program so that they can see the true results of bilingualism. So if a student starts in kinder, we ask parents to sign a contract to keep their students enrolled so that they can see the benefits of this program. And so, yeah, by doing this and implementing all of these steps, we will provide the pools of support so that when students leave our schools, they have those skills to be successful in college. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
So what languages are you looking to do this program in?
Spanish and English.
Spanish and English only?
For now.
Yes, I would love to start it in other languages. That would be amazing.
Okay.
Right now for the future, Spanish.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Anything?
Have you visited Cesar Chavez in Davis Joint Unified?
Do you want to speak to that one?
I'm pretty familiar with Cesar Chavez, and actually Marguerite Montgomery is another school site there in Davis that does the same program. And so we definitely have a planned visit in the near future.
Great. Parents love both of those schools.
I just wanted to make a comment. I think it's really great that you're doing this because it's so important for the parents also to be able to help their children in those early stages. So when they're able to speak to their children in Spanish, be able to help them, and they get lesson plans that they can assist with. And, of course, as children get older, I see this model that you have here. They're able to, of course, fly on their own at that point. But I think those early years are so important, for the parents to be involved. I did have a question, real quick. When I attended the presentation on Read to Succeed, they're saying that a child, by the time they enter, I believe they said preschool, they should know about 30,000 words or so in order for them to be able to, what was it, by the third grade, to read to learn rather than learn to read. I don't know if you have any data on this, but how does that come out? I mean, in terms of how much English they know or how much Spanish, should actually be used in the classroom in order for them to be able at a third grade level to have the proficiency.
So I want to make sure I understand the question. You want to know if by third grade, do I have data to show that they'll be proficient in both languages? Okay. So there is data available, and I can get that to you. But it's all about implementation of the program and having a strategic curriculum and the professionals trained in what they're doing and having a plan. Because we're not looking at just ELD, we're now looking at the Spanish development as well and supporting both languages for students to be successful. But I can get that data to you.
No, I think that's wonderful because, I mean, in this global economy, people need to know those languages. 20 years ago, when I went to Mexico, I mean, even the shopkeepers, they spoke Spanish, they spoke English, and some of them spoke German or another language because of all the tourists. And these were just, working class folks. So that's really important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Board Member Kirby-Gonzalez?
I love the seal. I didn't even know such a thing existed until just now. And so often I see students who speak another language at home and they don't always realize the value of that and the power of that. And it's not always cultivated. And I think this is just a really great way to honor that and show that it's important and hopefully motivating for kids as well. Elkhorn has a really special staff because so many of the teachers already know Spanish. And so I feel like we're so lucky. I know that they've been doing things for a long time with their students. And this would just be a really nice way to be able to communicate to everyone throughout the community about this program. So a few questions that I have when I hear about this, which is very exciting to me, is a third of the students with no exposure. Do you feel like you have that at the school now, or would this be the idea of really getting it out there district-wide so people hear about the program and want to send their children there? How would you get there? Do you envision right now?
So I'm planning on reaching out to the community and enrolling students from those backgrounds.
Okay.
I would like to go to the different sites and maybe hold informational sessions.
Okay.
I created a website that has information already. It's part of the package that you have. It's a
Okay.
web address that's included there. And it also has literature that you can read up on the benefits of having a dual immersion program. But that's my plan, to go out to the different sites, let parents know that this is an opportunity that their students can be a part of, and I'll take any other suggestions that you have.
So would this be, it's not school-wide, be a magnet program, one per grade? Is that what you're envisioning? Am I thinking of that correct?
We would start at kinder and roll it out.
Oh, okay, so starting at kinder, not all kinders, like a track of kinder then, filling
a
one
track,
grade level?
yes.
You're
Mhm.
thinking one grade level, or not
Well-
sure yet, whatever is filled?
we would start at kinder, one.
Well, I mean, 2 kinders, 1 kinder, you're thinking 1?
We're thinking one right now. We don't know
Okay.
what the numbers are. We know we can fill one for sure with the students that we have in place and recruiting. If we have more parents sign up, that would be great as far as staffing goes and filling that in.
Do we have the space, this is really, I guess, a district question, do you have the space overall to grow this program if it grew to, say, two classes per grade? Would we have the capacity at Elkhorn to expand that?
I think we'd have to see what the recruitment looked like over time. I think one of the things that you try to do in a program like this is you try to build it large at the beginning, so, because there is going to be some natural attrition that goes on. I can speak to it a little bit from my experience. Before I was in this district, I opened the first dual immersion program in San Juan Unified. And now, I think it's 6 or 7 years later, they have a problem with their program, and it's a good problem to have. And that is that it's gotten so popular at the school. The school that we opened it at was a school that was on the short list for closure. The San Juan for many years has been declining enrollment district. So every couple of years, they close a school or two. And this was one of the schools that was on the closure list. And it kept getting visited and kind of passed over. So what's happened now is that school, if I remember correctly in talking to some of the people over there, that population has doubled. And now they're in a situation where they're really considering it to be a magnet school because that English-only track has become small. And the dual immersion program has become large. You kind of get there when you get there. You cross that bridge when you want to plan ahead, but you kind of cross that bridge when you get there. But I think what we would try to do is recruit as best we can. You don't always get those perfect numbers at third. That's really an ideal. But you try to get that because, as much as you can, a balance. Because what you want in that dual immersion program is you want English-speaking models for the students who are native Spanish speakers, and you want Spanish-speaking models for the students who are native English speakers. And they really become kind of mini teachers for each other in addition to the instruction that goes on.
Great. Yeah, I know that can be a hard dynamic for a school sometimes. It has so many benefits, but it can also be a hard dynamic when suddenly many parents want this program over here, and what does that do to your general ed? And so I know that's something you're aware of and to move forward on. Okay, I think it's very exciting. I know that parents want this. Sometimes parents know what they don't know. They know what they don't want, but they can't always articulate what they do want. But this is one of those things they do articulate that they want. We hear a lot of times that parents want these programs. So it's a matter now of building bridges, I think, in the district, and we can help with these parts in terms of families feeling comfortable having their kids go to not their neighborhood school. And so that will be an important piece of the puzzle that I know we can help with in terms of getting that 1/3 over there too and feeling comfortable to take that risk to leave their school to go to a different one. But I think this is fabulous. Thank you. It's exciting.
Board Member Alcala?
I just have a comment and then a question. Comment is that I think it's really great also that you're awarding these certificates. That means a lot within the Latino community to get certificates, of accomplishment from the school. What about Westfield? They have such a high concentration of Latino students. Is this something we could also have at Westfield?
I don't know that we've gone that far yet. At one point, Westfield did have a bilingual program, and that ceased, but potentially. I think right now we want to start with Elkhorn because we have the built-in bilingual teachers.
Right.
As a matter of really just converting the program over. But I think that's something we can certainly think about.
That was what, I'm sorry, did you have something else? Go ahead.
No, go ahead if you wanted to.
I
Okay.
usually come up at the end after you guys asked all the good questions.
No. I just wanted to say that I absolutely love this program, and I hope that it grows so large that we have the opportunity to grow into other languages as well. I mean, West Sac is so diverse, and we have so many wonderful cultures that it would be incredibly beneficial to see, other languages explored as well.
Definitely.
Thank you. And I want to just piggyback on Board Member Alcala. If we do think about expanding, I would like it to go over to Westfield. I was there today, and there is a large Latino community over there, and I think it would benefit, rather than just continuously expanding at one school, share the love. And I am excited for this program, don't get me wrong, but I just have a clarifying question. Well, I see it's dual immersion program, and it's requesting a board resolution. Why a board resolution versus going to the curriculum council?
It actually wouldn't be a resolution, it's board policy. When you do a sealed by literacy, there's a board policy that piggybacks with the graduation policies that you have that allows you to affix that seal. There are a lot of good models.
Board resolution. That's why,
Yeah,
that's where I
that's,
came from.
that's a
All right.
misnomer. It's really
That's why I
supposed to be
wanted
board policy. I'm
clarification.
sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be board policy.
And along with that, thank you. That's why I was questioning that. Along with that, the seal of the biliteracy, at what point does that kick in? Is that when these kindergartners get to high school? Those are the ones that will be eligible for that certificate? Because we're talking about it's open to students enrolled in world languages now?
Correct. Correct. So the idea is that, yes, the actual seal, since it goes on the transcript, would be when they graduate, and there are some requirements that include graduation requirements, but there are pathway awards that we can also implement through the K-8 program as well. But that's, right now we were looking at the seal at the end as our end result, but looking toward some pathway awards as well.
So when we adopt this program, can we say 9th and 10th graders would be eligible if they hit the eligibility requirements?
Yeah.
We don't have to wait for the kindergartners that,
No, that's what we're saying,
I want to be around to see.
Yeah, no, we could do it this year, as
Okay.
long as we get that language put into place.
Okay.
Board policy.
And one more thing. And where can we find what the eligibility criteria is from the state?
I can get that to you. I have it in my hand right now, but I can get it to
Okay.
you. And just to be clear, there's different criteria for students. There's additional criteria for students where English is not their primary language.
Sure.
In addition to students who English is their primary language. But it's mainly just the CELT
Okay.
that's added to it.
Did you have another question?
Just to make sure I clarify, my understanding was the seal and the program are two separate things, although
Right.
it could be a pathway.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Ideally, that's what we'd have, pathway awards to the seal through the dual immersion program. Yeah.
Anything more? Thank you so much. We are to the consent agenda. We had the modification earlier to the minutes for October 22nd. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda with that modification?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 We are to action items. Action item number 1, to approve the agreement to cooperate in the use of facilities between the City of West Sac and Washington Unified School District. Scott Landsberg, Assistant Superintendent.
Thank you, President Cruz, members of the board. Document you have in front of you tonight is, over the years, the district and the city have had several agreements that talk about the relationship between the two entities. And the relationship was to seek out solutions so that you wouldn't create an excess or duplicative burden on taxpayers in the city of West Sacramento. At a recent 2x2 meeting a couple months ago, direction was given for the city and the administration to develop an agreement that would consolidate current agreements. We've done that. There are 4 current agreements that are being consolidated. The first one being the lease agreement for the use of facilities for community programs between the city of West Sacramento and the Washington Unified School District, which was set to expire August 27th of 2017. The second agreement being the agreement between the city of West Sacramento and the Washington Unified School District to cooperate in the use of facilities. It did not have a expiration date in it, but it did have a 90-day termination clause. And the third would be the lease for park and recreational sites at Golden State Middle School Youth Center site. This was the agreement that developed Club West on the backside of the campus. And the fourth agreement was the MOU for development of a joint-use park adjacent to the Bridgeway Island School site. We've consolidated all 4 of these documents into a single master document that has the sites as exhibits and attachments so that they could be modified without terminating the agreement in its entirety. If, say, for example, the city decided they didn't want to run Westfield Park anymore, they could say, let's just take that one off the list. We can make a modification. You can remove Westfield Park and the rest of the document can continue to move forward. So we bring this for you for your approval. after any conversation that you might want to have. It is a 20-year agreement, so it would be effective for 20 years from execution, which is the same term that the prior documents that had timeframes on them had. Any questions?
I have a question. Why 20 years and not 10?
Because that's what the prior documents had. They were 20-year agreements, going all the way back to the late 70s, early 80s. They were all 20-year agreements when they were facility agreements.
But could we have made that modification to make it 10 years? I mean, we never know where the district's going to be at that point.
You could make it a 10-year agreement if you chose to. I think the city is looking at this to be a longer-term agreement because they will then have leasehold to the property, and as they go after additional grants and stuff, depending on where they are in the term, the person who's offering the grant is going to want to see that the property is under control for a longer period of time, potentially, depending on the size of the grant. That was a conversation they were having as they were moving forward on the Disney Kaboom grant.
So we weren't really in on a lot of those conversations. So let's say the city agrees to something. How would the district figure in? How would we have input into that rather than just the city being privy to
Well, if you're
agreements that they make?
If you're talking about the city, well, the city doesn't have the right to sublease the property. So if you're talking about the city going and obtaining a grant to put on, say, like a play structure, any modifications that they make to the property, the city has to come back to the board and get the board's approval of that modification first, which is the second agenda item that you have following this, which is Bright Park Phase 2, which the city has to get your approval on before they can actually build it. So you still have control over the property and any leasehold improvements that are done to it. The city then has the right to run program and do general maintenance to the property itself while it's under their control.
I also have a question. I know that our park gets used a lot by the soccer teams that are out there. Where does that money go? I've often wondered, does that go to the city or does it come to us, or do they, do the soccer teams?
Are you speaking
that come
about
in?
Bright Park specifically?
Bright Park, uh-huh.
It goes to the city. It's a revenue generation for the city. But again, the city assumes 100% of the maintenance of that
The
park,
maintenance.
including the water cost.
I spent a lot of time with Scott today on this matter, and I appreciate it to better clarify things for myself too, and those are some good questions. And I will tell you, the one thing that really disturbed me, and as I read the item number, I don't like the title of the agreement to cooperate. I think that sets a negative connotation. And I understand that's what this MOU was called 20 years ago, and in 20 years ago, it may have been called a agreement to cooperate. So I'm asking the board if we could modify it to say this agreement to partner. I think that sends a more positive note, and I think that's what we are initially trying to do, is gain partners. I just don't like the word cooperate. I know it sounds minor, but the first thing that jumped out at me when I read this, I was like, it sounded like we do not cooperate together to have this done. And so I'm asking the board to look at that, and let's modify the word throughout the document to read partner.
Does it change anything legally? No?
Yeah.
It's a title.
Just the
And this
title.
has been coming up for a long time in the school, City 2x2, with Sarah and I both being there, so we have heard these discussions.
You have, you're absolutely right, but I think it probably should have been reported more to the board, because honestly, I will tell you, I went to Scott and I said, where's this coming from? Never heard about it. And I understand we all on the board, we go out and represent in different community, committees, and during our comments, that is the time to report back to the board about what's talked about.
We
And
did, a little bit, but maybe not enough, so
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
we
maybe
can.
no, I knew this was coming down the pipeline. I mean, my biggest concern was, hey, why now? So I
Because
had
it
to
was
go to.
expiring,
Yeah,
right?
well, I had to go spend some time with Scott to find out why.
It's good for you to spend time with Scott.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure Scott enjoyed seeing me.
Love spending time.
I actually like your language suggestion. I think partnership is certainly good terminology, and it's definitely sends a positive vibe. My question is, what if we were to make any adjustments to the fields, to the, you know, say soccer fields or football fields someplace. And
When you say we,
the district,
Okay.
because it's on district property. And the city has an easement or has the right to use that land. Do they have to, since they're benefiting from the increase of funds that we're putting out there, say, you know, we're making a capital investment into a field for the use of our schools, but they're also benefiting when they use for city ventures like, you know, Pee Wee football leagues or Pee Wee soccer leagues or something like that. The money that they use, does it go to the city? Is that how I'm to understand that?
Let me see if I can answer the question. I want to maybe recap it and make sure I heard the question the right way.
Right, so say we go to an artificial turf field. I'm just throwing a hypothetical. Now takes out all the water out of, you know, out of play. So there's really there's no lawn mowing, there's no, you know, water. It's environmentally, you know, sensitive. So as you go forward and you're doing this on a, you know, on a football field or you're doing it on a soccer field and you're changing that capital investment is going to be put forward by the district. This is a hypothetical, of course. So the capital investment is being put forward by the district, but the district then lets or through this partnership agreement, allows the city to run, you know, say Pee Wee football or soccer or some kind of programs where there is money derived and it goes back to the city. Are we not going to be, I guess we're making the initial investment. So is there a way that comes back to the district?
It's a great question. I think some clarification on the prior relationship and the relationship as we see it going forward for these particular sites. In this agreement, you're specifically looking at Bright Park, you're looking at the Alice Norman playfields, you're looking at the park next to Westfield, the park next to Elkhorn, the skate park across from the district office, and the park at Bridgeway Island. As far as I can tell, the district has not put any capital improvement dollars into any of those sites. They have been, it's been a land lease agreement between the district and the city has put in all the capital improvements. So really, I think the bigger challenge is if for some reason you decide to not have a park on one of those sites and the city pulls out, how do you defund the capital improvement that the city made? And there's a mechanism in the contract that talks about the different variables to go through that, and it's a straight line depreciation value concept. So I wouldn't be worried so much about, well, what if the district put $1 million into turf fields on these properties? Because I don't see that happening in this particular agreement. And therefore, the profit sharing question to me goes away because the city is the only one that's incurring any expense for the property at all. And so then the city gets to reap any dollars that come back in. We did have a conversation with the city years ago when this issue came up, and there was a concern or question about whether or not the city was making a profit off of what they were charging for the fields versus their cost to maintain. And I want to say they were bringing in maybe 20 cents on a dollar.
Right, and I guess what I'm looking for is language that's, I mean, I've read this document, and I didn't see any language that prevented or that allowed for a reverse of the direction of money. Like, as you said, the city recoups all the money for whatever they're charging for field use. But I do see in the future a potential, especially with the droughts that we've been having, of going to, you know, artificial turfs in other areas. Maybe not in these exact locations, but it may be something where we decide to do that. I mean, that Pee Wee field there is in Bridgeway. They have flag football fields there, all the football games all the time there. And I can see that, you know, the grass there is brown as brown gets. And, you know, I would certainly like to see more of that get turned into something that is more environmentally sensitive.
I have another question.
Artificial, we have artificial turf at the high school.
Right.
It's
that is
pretty
correct.
expensive to maintain, right? I
It-
mean,
it
and
is.
there's
Our
issues with it.
Artificial turf is not maintenance-free. It does have to be groomed
Right.
and mowed and whatever they do. If they have a particular machine, I don't know how it works, but it goes in and moves the stuff around, so.
Rolled,
And there's-
basically.
It's rolling.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Board
Okay.
Member Alcoa.
All right, thank you. I noticed that the City of West Sacramento properties, they only list two, the city council chambers, which we use here, and Bridgeway Island playfields. What about that new construction, the barn, or even Rayleigh's Field? I mean, we used it for graduation. It was a wonderful graduation that we had there. Could those be included in this agreement? For, we may need to use them at
So
some
Rayleigh
point?
Field, and what was the other property?
And the
The
barn that they're building.
Along the river.
Yeah, that's what.
We
Where they have
could,
that noisy
we could look
concert.
into the barn. I'm not aware that the city owns Rayleigh Field. It was a redevelopment project, but I don't think the city of West Sacramento owns Rayleigh Field.
Okay, what about the barn? I understand the
we can-
city's
we can
putting a
ask
lot of
about it.
money, yeah, into
And I
that.
think when you look at this document, the reason this document was set up with those two exhibits is so that we could add and remove properties as new properties come online or properties no longer exist, depending on how things change over, you know, the next 10, 15, 20 years. So it's really designed for us to be able to move properties in, but sure, as soon as you said it's called the barn?
It's called the barn, right? It's
It's
supposed to be a
a-
huge structure.
It's up, because isn't that where they have the noisy concert?
Is that-
Is that-
No,
But-
no,
it's
I
by
think
the-
I think they're building. It's
That's
supposed to be
what they
really,
refer to as
really
the
nice,
noisy concert.
yeah.
TBD concert?
And I was
It's
just
in the
thinking,
Riverwalk, right?
right, it will be on the Riverwalk.
So I can ask city staff about that, and I'm sure that that's something that we can have a conversation about. As long as it's a piece of property that's owned by the city, we can have a conversation about adding it to this particular agreement.
It's all about part of that. Board Member Kirby Gonzalez?
We did have a discussion at 2x2 Rayleigh Field. My understanding was that the city, it's not their property, but they get certain days they can use Rayleigh Field, and they said that for graduation, maybe they can flop us one of those, that we can use one of those days. So I don't know if that would go in this document versus a different type of conversation, it seems like, because it's not their property, but kind of a separate conversation. And I apologize if we weren't articulate enough about what had happened at 2x2. We had discussed an MOU and consolidating properties. We hadn't seen it, but we had discussed it, and that was direction that we could put them together. So I do appreciate this list. It's really nice to see. I didn't even know all the properties. I mean, so it's really nice to see all of this in one document, so we can all be clear. I think to Board Member Acala's concern that maybe if we needed property, you know, this is a 20-year agreement, what if we need property? We do, my understanding is, say we had to expand a school or something was gonna happen, there is a way to get out of this.
Yep, there's a 90-day term clause.
So if we ran into any situations like that, there would be ways to protect us. And so I'm supportive of this piece. I don't think it's in our CIP plan anywhere that we would make any improvements to any of these fields. We haven't, that's in none of our, we don't even have enough money to, you know, we have enough things we want to do within our own infrastructure before that piece. So I don't think that, I think it was a really important question. I don't think it's a concern since it's not in any of our CIP. So I'm supportive of this, given all of those pieces. My only question would be, just to ensure, did our district lawyer look at the MOU document?
No, our district lawyer did not look at this document. It's a very simple document where we took the prior documents, and it's all language that came from the prior documents with a current indemnification clause and a current insurance clause. But no, we didn't feel that it was necessary to have it go through legal counsel because it's not a real estate transaction as we've done where we're buying or selling property. It's just an agreement for use in between the two entities. I know city council looked at it because city council sits at City Hall, and so they haven't. She's somebody that's on the payroll. I didn't think that with this particular document, it warranted going out to council, to outside council to have them review. I'm very comfortable with the document, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so I appreciate that you're and that helps me a lot. I would, my only piece would be that I would throw out, and I'm one board member, I'm comfortable moving forward this. If our legal counsel could look over it and give an okay, I would be comfortable with it on consent next board meeting. So that might be something I would.
I agree with that, too. I would like to see the legal counsel. And just really quick question again. So my understanding is, like, let's say the Kaboom project. I really felt that we weren't in on the initial planning. A lot of things were done really without having, I felt, representatives of WUSD in on this partnership. So I guess I'd like to see that in the language. Maybe I didn't read it right, but I would like legal counsel, as recommended, to make certain that it is a true partnership. So when anything's going to be done, any types of grants, anything like that, that we have a representative of WUSD in on this. I think it's important.
Any more comments, questions?
No.
And I'm not going to say a motion conditionally, because we've done that before, so. It sounds like the majority of the board is okay to go forward, to have it on the consent agenda item next time, as long as our legal firm looks at it. So I don't want to use the word conditionally. I'm saying that several times, no condition, no condition, no conditional.
And I think what we do with this is we go ahead and we take your recommendations and we'll send it back out to legal counsel, find out any modifications. It'll come back in December as a consent item. The agenda item that was kind of associated with this is Bright Park Phase 2, which, since this document hasn't been approved by you, the current document is still in play, and it has the exact same clause in it that says the city has to present their modifications to the property before moving forward with them. So we can continue on with action item number 2, because it would still be in play, because the original document is still in effect at this point.
Has our legal counsel looked at that?
Looked at Bright Park Phase 2?
Yeah. I know
No,
that's just the improvements, but
Yeah, it's just a modification of the property.
You're asking that to go to legal counsel as well?
no, I'm just asking,
Oh.
because I don't know if that'll be a question.
No, we, under contract law, you would use the existing agreement until we signed a new one,
That's
correct?
correct.
Yeah, it's still in effect.
Okay,
It's still in effect.
we good?
Until 2017, is it 2017?
Correct.
17 or
The
16?
current agreement is in effect till 2017.
So we're clear on P1.
Correct.
Before we go to P2, I would like to get a consensus of the board. P4, we have our young students here. Can we pull P4 up so we can get them home to do their homework?
One of them already had to leave.
I know. Is that okay with the
That's-
board? Can we,
Absolutely.
Do we have, you don't need a motion, just agree?
we can just agree.
Okay, let's agree.
We're going to go ahead and call P4 out of order. So if we can, the approval of the 3 new career and technical education courses, Farm to Fork 1, Farm to Fork 2, Animal Husbandry, Bill Spalding.
Good evening. 2 of you are going to be very familiar with this particular action item. This came from our most recent curriculum council meeting, but a lot of work that was done over the summer with some of our teachers who are involved with the Farm to Fork program, and as a result of our receiving the specialized secondary program grant. And so they were able to build a 3-part series, a Farm to Fork 1, a Farm to Fork 2, and animal husbandry course. Now, I want to clarify what animal husbandry is. No one will be taking an animal as a husband. That was one of the questions that came up during the curriculum council. But a lot of times when you think about those more traditional kind of FFA programs where students are raising animals, animal husbandry allows for that. And so we're looking to bring this forward to the board, and we're looking for your approval tonight. This would round out the cafe. We talked about in the curriculum council meeting that we have the ca in the cafe, and this is the fe. part. So we're hoping that you will approve that. And I also wanted to say that Andrew Tate and Jennifer McAllister and, oh gosh, her name escapes me now. Cheryl Sutton were the big parts of writing this curriculum and really building together a true farm-to-fork program. And I wanted to thank them for their work.
Do you have a presentation, or do you want to come up and chat with us? No? No? Too late? We're too late? Is there any comments or questions on this item?
I just have to say, I'm super excited about this, and Bill and I actually have talked about ag stuff for years with the fair and whatnot, so I would encourage this opportunity, and so excited, and thank you for all of your hard work. So,
Quick question, is this going to be like 4-H?
FFA.
Is it 4-H?
You know, we're looking into an FFA program, and this wouldn't require an FFA program, but it's something that we're looking into. FFA is the Future Farmers of America. It's run through high schools. It's similar to 4-H. A lot of 4-H members grow up to become FFA members, so this is something that could be in the offing as a result of this.
What is the official pathway name for this? Do these all fall in the same pathway, and what's the name? I'm just wondering.
It's the CAFE pathway, the Culinary Arts and Farm-to-Fork Education
Okay,
pathway.
so I'm just thinking as we look into internships and all those, these all fall within the same pathway, which is the so if I was out speaking, I would say the CAFE program, they fall in with the.
That's correct.
Okay, okay, good. I just want to make sure I get all my pathways right and not mixed up. And then I just, thank you so much to our teacher McAllister for all that you do. And I really hope that I couldn't convince her this year to fill out the application because she had so much on her plate, as I know so many people do, to fill out the county Teacher of the Year application, where then you can go on, the state Teacher of the Year and maybe the nation, and you could give some very good information to our president about education. So I just hope that we continue to really, I don't know if we've had any teachers apply in a long time. They're all busy. And so I hope we continue that cultivating, and maybe you'll want to fill out an application. Thank you for all you do.
Any more comments, questions? He's going to present at the next meeting? Okay, we'll try to get you on early so you don't have to stay here. Yeah, but thank you very much. I've appreciated talking to the kids. The kids are so friendly and nice, and they're eager to talk to you and tell you about their program, and very knowledgeable. So I'm excited, and thank you very much. I need a motion to approve the 3 new career and technical education courses, Farm to Fork 1, Farm to Fork 2, and Animal Husbandry.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we can go back to P2 now, to approve the Bright Park Phase 2 improvements. Scott, did you have anything to add, or?
I sure do.
Okay.
Again, regardless of the current contract that's in play, you had a clause in there, Section 5A, which required the city to present the concept plans to the Board of Education for discussion and approval before the city started moving forward with it. With us tonight from the city of West Sacramento is Chris Srwaski, and he's going to present the plan for Phase 2 of Bright Park and some of the improvements they're going to make there. A copy of his plan was also included in your agenda packet.
Good evening, Board of Education trustees. Our Phase 2, we came to you with the action item number 1. Once we have the joint use agreement in place, then we're supposed to, under Section 5A of the joint use agreement, come to you and present to you our concept drawing. From this concept drawing, we want to install water, sewer, and electrical to the area around the new playground. And from that area, we're going to be placing a concrete patio, covered concrete patio with picnic tables, a restroom, a parking lot out front, and just to the east of the property, we want to put an all-sports court. So what I'm asking tonight is just approval with the joint use is that we can move on with design. Once we have the design, I'd come back to the board for review of the plans and then final approval for construction.
Is there any questions or comments?
Again, Chris, thanks for all your hard work. This was presented to us at the 2x2, and we got to see the big plans all laid out, and very exciting, and super excited that the city is putting their own money into this park and expanding it and improving it, because it's hot out there. You need a shade structure and more parking so the neighbors can be happy. I have the Family Resource Center right across the street, and parking is difficult. You get up to 1,000 kids there for soccer on a Saturday, so super excited about you guys making this next step.
Thanks.
I will echo those. I take my kids to the park, and I think these improvements are going to be really good for the community. One thing that we discussed in the 2x2, I believe it was Mr. Landsberger that even had maybe recommended the possibility of looking at not having a separate parking lot, so almost maybe it goes into our school parking lot, and then when we have big functions, we could have carryover and vice versa. So something to think about for the board, and I don't know if you've continued to think about that as well.
Yeah, I'm going to put that on the task order for the architect's design, but there is all your main water and electrical, there's a lot of stuff going into that, in between that parking lot and our existing parking lot. So
Okay.
there might be a way I can at least do a drive-through, but not just have the spots right at that spot.
Okay. That
So-
might be a good thing. Thanks.
So still considering it.
Thank you.
It looks wonderful. I'm really happy because this is happening on the north side, place that really needs a lot of improvements. I just have a real quick question. Concession stands, they'd be able to, let's say like the taco trucks come in and there'd be a place to have them? Because people go out to the parks, they like
Yeah.
to sometimes have concessions out there and all.
I don't know, we could probably block off the parking lot just for that.
Okay.
Just have people park on the street. We also have the
There-
large parking lot across the street
There's-
too, Alice Norman.
It's a big area. Food truck mania.
Yeah.
I'm trying to decipher this diagram because I have a
Okay.
hard time seeing myself. So the shade structure,
You see the area to the right of the playground area?
correct.
That'll be a covered shade area. Right now, we're looking at putting in I want to say probably 40 by 50 shade shelter. Right now, my budget, we put in for a 30 by 30, but I talked to some representatives of the shade sales, and they actually have some DSA-approved shade shelters. They've said they've provided Washington School District and other facilities, so I've already been talking to them.
So is there going to be seating or picnic tables or
Picnic
something under
tables.
that? And is there any plan to get any kind of shade over the playground itself
No, but the
or
Parks
trees or?
Department talked to me today, and they want to do a tree planting to the north of the the playground.
Okay,
So they're going to put some large canopy shade trees there.
And of course, I know the winter's coming up, so we're not going to worry about that. But what about water faucets or something for the kids to be able
Yeah,
to?
we're going to put water for the restroom and a water fountain. We'll probably put 2 water fountains. One will be right there at the corner of the concrete pad, just south of the playground, next to the concrete patio. And then I'll put another one over there to the right of the restroom, next to the multi-sports court.
You know, I'd like to recommend something. We had a wonderful person here who was very responsible for getting the work going on Bright Park, Cheryl Castorina, who passed away. I think it would be great if the city were to honor her by maybe having a plaque at one of those water fountains.
What was her name?
Cheryl Castorina.
The city has her name. They
Okay.
know. They know
Yeah.
exactly who she was.
And I think
I'm
that would
actually
be,
talking to the family about what they would like.
Okay.
To benefit them, so.
Yeah.
okay, all right.
So it's
Just a
being-
thought.
It's
The
being
bench or
talked
water
about,
fountain, that's very nice. She was very helpful.
especially at that
Lugging
park.
dirt back and forth. wood
She was
chips.
always there.
I just have a quick side thinking about the park itself. I noticed that the zip line is down, and I'm wondering if there might be concerns with vandalism or if it was just an equipment malfunction.
I'll find out. I don't know about that.
Okay. All right.
That's park maintenance.
Okay, sorry
But I'll
for
look
that.
into
Well, I
it
was
and
just
I'll let
thinking
you
a
know.
big picture as we look into our own school.
to shade it, it wouldn't be broken down.
Yeah, the other area they want to put shade trees coming up is just south of that playground. We got that open space there.
Okay, well, I'm excited, and I thank you very much. Is there any more comments or questions or concerns?
I just have, what kind of multi-sport court is going in? What sports can you play there?
What it's going to be is it's going to be a traditional size, maybe a little larger than a basketball court, but it's going to have different linings, so you can play pickleball or some kind of kickball or small court soccer,
Oh, nice.
badminton, different things you can do on a court.
Were basketball courts, I thought, in that plan at some,
Yes, actually, we have, on this drawing, the concept drawing, we have 2 multi-court courses. So eventually, we'll want to put in the second one, but right now, funding, we only have the one.
sure, because I know there's only one court out there, and trying to play basketball,
Oh, yeah.
it's whoever's the biggest gets to play, have the court. So I'd like to see that
All right.
soon. I know it's used a lot out there, so, but thank you very much. I mean,
Oh.
we're very excited.
I always
Oh,
have one last question.
Sure.
A few years ago, they had a wonderful opportunity for the public to come out and, submit designs. Are you guys using those for?
Yes, this is
concept?
part of the park master
Okay,
plan,
great.
Bright Park Master
Good.
Plan. Yeah, I was involved in that, too. My
Yeah.
kids were, too.
Well, I'm glad to see it's finally coming in piece by piece. I know the community there is concerned that it was never going to happen, so it's exciting to see it come together. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Again, I'm sorry. Is there any more?
No, we're done.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. If I can I go back and answer your question about the barn?
Oh,
So, the barn is a 20-year plus, I think, lease with the Fulcrum property. So the city is actually leasing that property to them long-term for the restaurant that's going to be under the barn.
okay.
Are there portions of it that could be
It's all-
used by, when it's not being leased all the time?
Not that I know of. It's being, and they're subleasing it to a restauranter that's going to be having a restaurant there.
For 20 years?
Kind of like our leases with the
kinda
park.
like
though.
ours. I
You're
think
leasing
20
it out
years
to
is
that.
the city's
City's,
magic
yeah,
number there.
It allows you enough time to get the projects done and to see if it works and go out for grant funding and whatnot, so
Yeah.
we're excited.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
I have a motion to approve the Bright Park Phase 2 improvement.
So,
So moved?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Approval of the Yolo County Special Ed Local Plan. Bill Smallman.
Good evening again. We are a member of the Yolo County Special Education Local Plan, SELPA, and it's a consortium of the different school districts in the county that administers special education programs. Whenever that SELPA plan is changed, we need to bring that back to our school boards, our local school boards. And so something that's happened recently was that the charter school in Woodland, the Polytechnic Academy, closed down. So because that was mentioned in the previous plan, we need to excise that and change the plan. And while that was being done, it was decided that, maybe a good idea would be to change the plan slightly to allow the Superintendent's Council to be able to approve charter schools once they are joining, to be able to be a part of the SELPA, because as we know, there are charter schools that are developing, and otherwise what we would have to do is every time a new charter school came up, we'd have to take the SELPA plan changes, modifications around to all the school boards. So those are the two major changes that SELPA is asking for, and we're looking for an approval of that change.
Any comments or questions? Board Member Villegas?
No, I was going
Oh.
to make a motion.
Sorry. Is there any comments?
I'll wait.
Questions? Concerns? Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 5, approval of Board of Education Annual Organization Meeting for 2016 to be held on Thursday, December 10th. Superintendent Luna.
Thank you, President Cruz. Under Education Code 35143, the governing board is required to set a date for the annual reorganizational meeting, and it is to be held within a 15-day period each year. For 2015, the 15-day period falls between December 4th and December 19th. We do have a regularly scheduled board meeting scheduled for December 10th, and so the board, by taking action this evening, is acknowledging that December 10th will be determined as the annual organizational meeting for the Washington Unified School District Board of Trustees.
Any comments, questions? Motion?
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are to board governance. And because I may not have an opportunity next board meeting, I wanted to thank the board for their confidence this year in having me be their president. And it's been an exciting year, lots of good things happening. Just a small summary that I think a big thing for us was we hired a new superintendent. We had some successful negotiations with unions. My opinion, I think they were successful. We had to appoint a new board member, very successful again. We unfortunately lost some influential people in our community, in our district. We opened up a fantastic culinary school. And as a board member, we also hired 2 fantastic new principals. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things we did, but I was just kind of touching on the highlights that meant something to me. And as Superintendent Luna was saying earlier, this is the time of year for giving thanks. And I would like to take the time to thank my fellow board members, even Mr. Pizzati, even though it's your first time, I'm still going to thank you for stepping up. And I really look forward to working with you guys next year. I also want to thank the administration and staff. They've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations this year and really stepped up when we needed you guys to, so thank you very much. And as we just made the motion, our next board meeting is our reorganization meeting for the board. And at that time, I also want the board to remember we also select our committee members. And we have some committees to fill, so I just wanted to remind you of that if anything jumps out at you. I know, I think everybody on the board is going to the conference in San Diego but myself.
I'm not going either.
Oh, you're not going? Okay. Well,
It's gonna be
some of the
good.
board members are going.
Have
I
fun,
know,
though.
we've been a few times, some of the board members that are going. Kobe, I hope you can go, and I hope
I'm
you can
going.
jump on it. It's
I'm
a
going.
very exciting time. I know the superintendent's going. Learn a lot there.
I will.
You know, and with that, I really suggest, you know, everybody check out some governance classes, because that's something the board's been working on. And, you know, I know when you all come back, we're gonna do a self-evaluation of ourselves. And so, I'm excited for you guys to go and represent us, and hopefully it's sunny in San Diego. And we also talked about having, let's see, a special board meeting in January 6th, was it? I didn't even. 9th, January 9th. And we're going to start talking about our strategic plans and goals. So I think that is it for the governance piece for me. And I know in January, there's also some classes here in Sacramento, some governance classes. So I really would suggest we all go, because
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great, yeah, they're really good.
and it's good to see what other more local boards are doing, and just getting to use them as partners and hearing what they're doing, and maybe hopefully they won't steal all of our good ideas, but it's just nice to reach out and hear that. So just a little comment for myself, and I don't know if there's any, we're gonna start talking about the bylaws next board meeting also. So we're doing things up here. I don't know if anyone else has any more board governance comments, suggestions? No? We are to future board agenda items, and we, as I mentioned, we'll have the board bylaws series 9,000. And everybody's favorite, you don't want to miss, the LCAP. So we look exciting to that. Is there any other future board agenda items?
Not now.
I like the suggestion of getting an update on Measure V. That would be a nice piece to have. And then I'm still wondering about our Lighthouse MOU serving special needs students.
It is scheduled to come to the board on December 10th. Right now, the attorneys are fine-tuning all the language, both sides.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anything more? Congratulations for you living through your first board meeting.
My first one?
Yeah, out before 10.
And for that, if I can have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Oh, and everyone have a nice holiday, a nice Thanksgiving. We'll see you in December.
Is there any cookies left?
Are we having enough?
No?